Phase 1 of Baltimore County's reopening plan gets underway today. Starting at 9 o'clock this morning, some businesses can open again with restrictions. So right now in Maryland, the number of cases is still going up, and there's just over 2,000 deaths. WJZ is live. Amy Kawada is breaking down what's open and what's not. Amy.
Hey, good morning, Max. I know a lot of us are eager to finally get those quarantine haircuts. I know I am, but here's the thing. Hair salons and barber shops are only allowed to have up to 10 people inside the building at a time, so it might be tough to get in that appointment right away. Also, some retail shops are allowed to reopen today, starting at 9 this morning, but again, only 10 people allowed at a time.
Let's go, let's do it, let's get them in.
Some retailers are ready to have you back, but not so fast, because Baltimore County will only allow 10 people inside stores at once, and that includes workers.
I haven't seen a bride in person in 8 weeks.
Towson Bridal Shop owner Mary Gambardella is using technology to adapt.
So here's the deal, we can only have 10 people in the store at a time, but we can bring 50 people in on a Zoom call, or as many as you want.
So what can you actually do starting this morning? Stores in the mall can open up, but only the ones with exterior entrances. Large religious services are still not allowed. The limit, only 10 people.
Difficult. It has been a difficult time.
Owner of Image Is Salon in Timonium, Michelle Clifton, is getting ready to operate with fewer clients in her chairs.
I've been inundated this morning with emails from our guests wanting to make appointments as soon as possible, but I don't think they really understand the restrictions that we're going to be under.
And sit-down dining is still off limits for restaurants. Takeout and delivery are strongly encouraged. And ladies or men, if you want to get your nails done, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Personal service establishments like nail salons and tattoo shops are still not able to open back up. Reporting live this morning, I'm Amy Kawada for WJZ.
Amy, thank you. Hospitalizations have dropped below 1,400 for the first time in more than a month, mostly because Maryland is testing more people. Our complete coverage continues. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren has more on the universal testing starting yesterday.
The line of cars stretched down York Road hours before the testing site at the Maryland State Fairgrounds even opened. Workers then had them moved to a parking lot. You can see from the chopper hundreds of cars waiting to get inside. Within minutes of its official opening, the facility was at its limit. Only the first 1,000 people got tested. What's the big draw? This is the first coronavirus testing location open to anyone free of cost without a doctor's authorization or any symptoms.
The fact that we were at capacity so quickly speaks to the incredible need out there in the community.
There are no plans yet to open the fairgrounds for a similar testing initiative again. However, state vehicle emission facilities in Glen Burnie and Hyattsville will perform tests to any members of the general public on Friday.
This is a PCR test where there'll be a swab up the nose, and then that is sent out to actually detect the actual virus.
The state is also partnering with CVS for drive-through testing at 17 pharmacies. You drive up and will be given a kit to administer the swab yourself. A pharmacy employee will make sure you are doing it right. Those tested at the fairgrounds will get their results back within 24 to 48 hours. The governor also announced a new extensive contact tracing operation will be in place by next week with 1,400 investigators. At the Maryland State Fairgrounds, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
As more people recover from COVID-19, they may be unsure when it's safe to return to the grocery store or pharmacy without being a risk to others. So doctors from Johns Hopkins Hospital are releasing crucial guidelines for recovering patients as they emerge from isolation.
A patient has gone 72 hours without fever or without taking any medicine to reduce the fever. And if there's been at least 10 days have passed since the date of the positive test, we think that the likelihood of them spreading the infection is low enough that they can get back to doing activities.
Doctors say every COVID case is different, so be sure to check with a professional before making the next steps in your recovery. A Maryland man who spent nearly 30 days in the ICU is now recovering this morning at home. Paul Gessler tells us why his medical staff calls him a miracle and how others in his family weren't as fortunate.
And I'll take this syringe here.
This is how Kevin Swank eats, his throat still healing after discharge from nearly a month in the ICU.
Right here is my stomach tube.
The Baltimore County man spent 18 days on a ventilator at Franklin Square. his team says his heart nearly stopped.
It hurt to take even one breath. And I did actually at one time just want to die. But then I heard a voice in my head that said, "You're being selfish."
Selfish, thinking of his daughters and family.
But I used to tell him, "Don't give up." And I don't know if he heard that, and I would like to know if he heard me saying that to him.
Swank says he does remember, specifically a nurse named Beth who was with him on his worst day.
And when I saw him on the day that he left the hospital, I told him that. I told him that he almost died, and I thought he was going to die. And I'm so thankful that he didn't.
He says he doesn't know how he got the illness. His father tested positive, and we learned from Kevin Thursday morning, just died from the virus. Other family members tested positive too, but were barely affected.
I'm a miracle. Yeah, I'm a miracle. A lot of people in the hospital call me medical miracle.
His recovery inspired his medical team, whose many other patients are not as lucky.
The fact that Kevin is home and doing so much better, it really helps us to know that we're making this much of an impact.
Swank was intubated 3 times. He said he's looking forward to his first solid meal, which he says he hopes is a double serving of crab cakes. For now, I'm Paul Gessler for WJZ.
6:37. Many Memorial Day services are canceled this weekend, but the state's 9/11 rolling memorial will happen. The memorial and motorcycle procession will begin with a ceremony at 9 Monday morning at Holly Hills Memorial Gardens. It'll make stops at memorials in Baltimore County, where will hold bell tolling ceremonies and the reading of the names. The tribute ends at the city's Vietnam War Memorial. President Trump plans on coming to Baltimore this Memorial Day, even though the mayor doesn't agree. Kelsey Kushner has why Mayor Young wants him to reconsider his visit to Fort McHenry.
2 Osprey aircrafts and Marine One practice landing at Fort McHenry, where the White House says the president and the First Lady will spend Memorial Day honoring the American heroes who lost their lives in battle. But as COVID-19 cases climb past 4,000 in Baltimore, the city remains under a stay-at-home order and all travel must be essential. Mayor Jack Young says President Trump's decision to pursue non-essential travel sends the wrong message. In a statement, he says, "I wish that the president, as our nation's leader, would set a positive example and not travel during the holiday weekend." Some neighbors agree.
I just think it's kind of hypocritical that we're all trapped inside and the president thinks it's okay for himself to travel.
Meanwhile, Governor Larry Hogan welcomed the news of the president's visit, saying in a statement they're honored for the visit. And although Marylanders are encouraged not to gather in large numbers this year, now more than ever, it's important to reflect on American heroes. He also says he won't be joining the president because it's his birthday and he plans to spend it at home with his family. While some people question the visit,
it's a bad example, and that's part of his job is to role model proper behavior and respect the laws of each state that he goes to in each city.
Others are behind it.
I think if he keeps his distance from everyone else, shouldn't have any problem because that's still setting a good example.
It's part of his job.
Now, Mayor Young also says that the president's visit here to Baltimore comes with a steep price tag for security and personnel. But he does say if the president does decide to come on Monday, the city will be ready. Reporting here in Baltimore City, Kelsey Kushner for WJZ.
And WJZ has everything you need to know about the pandemic. Just go to WJZ.com and look under top stories for a list of resources. Plus, the most important links and numbers are under quick links.